this all kind of came about because I was in my bed reading my Bible. And I had been listening to the same podcast that actually like turned me on to it's the Bible Project podcast.
Mm-hmm.
So they have all the videos, but they also have podcasts that are like really in depth, and they'll go, I mean, down rabbit holes, and I love it so much. I had been listening to one of their podcasts, and what they talk about is when you see repetition in the Bible, it is a Jewish literary element that says this is very important. And so that seems like common sense, where it's like, yeah, of course. But it's really important because you'll see it in like the story of David. He'll interact with Saul, like when he could kill Saul, there's two scenes where they're almost exactly the same. And that's on purpose because they want you to recognize that these are two scenes that are repeated because they're super important. And instead of saying like, pay attention, this is really important, they just write it into the story. And as a Jewish reader, you would read that and you would recognize it because it's just how they write. And we see it with Jesus as well in Luke 10, where he is talking to Martha when Martha's mad about Mary sitting at his feet. And he says, Martha, Martha. So he's not saying Martha, Martha is like a tisk tisk. It's actually the writer of the story is using this Jewish literary element to tell you this is very important. You need to pay attention to what he's about to say.
Yeah.
And so I had that in my brain. That's kind of like running in the background as I'm reading. And I get to this diagram in my study Bible. And it's a big picture of Jerusalem. And it shows every day of Holy Week. And then I just look below it, and for the first time, I recognize how often they're repeated in Scripture. They're in all 4 Gospels. I sat with that for a second, and it kind of shook me because we're not just talking about the crucifixion, the resurrection, which are like big Christian holidays. We're talking about the triumphant entry. We're talking about the Last Supper. We're talking about like these bookend days. These 8 days are repeated over and over and over again in gospel. And if we do like Bible math, like the birth of Jesus is told once in gospel. The death of Jesus is told 4 times. And so it clearly is very important. And I realized it's not important to me. I celebrate Easter. We go to church. We get dressed up. Maybe do an Easter egg hunt, which is like got nothing to do with the Bible. And in that moment, I had this moment of like cognitive dissonance where if Holy Week is important to the gospel authors, which clearly is, then that means it is important to God. And if it's important to God and God is important to me, then it has to be important to me.
There it is.
There's no way around it.